Hello everybody, welcome to our next project, which is also a tutorial. If you have any questions, you can subscribe me or to the other members. Okay, I will present you the functional part and then we will see how this was done, how the architecture of the project is, and also other things. Okay. This has also a login part where if you can register and then you can log in. Okay. We see here that we have some tabs. They are for helping the user. Okay, and also these buttons go to the help. We have the loan part where somebody can loan a book, and also the clients. Here the clients can be added. You can delete a client. A pop-up for confirmation appears. You can show the deleted clients, and also you have this nice functionality which is a table pop-in where you can set a transparent container, put what rows do you want, and also you can have exactly the rows that you have in a line, and you can edit them, or you can just display some other informations as you want. And if you modify something, then a confirmation pop-up will appear to ask you if you want to save the changes or not. If you will press no, then it will go back to the initial state, and if you press 8, then the modification will take place and it will be saved to the database. The same functionalities it is to the library, but I will not go there because I'm so excited to present you the code, and we also don't have too much time because we don't want to be a boring tutorial. Okay, let's go to the functional part. This application was realized with FPM configuration. This means that we need to have a FPM configuration, and we need to run this FPM configuration. And let's see how we have start this FPM configuration. Okay, we have started this FPM configuration by just creating a component, and as we can see, I have added in the component usage the FPM OVP component, and this is all for having a leading application which starts our FPM configuration. But we also need to write some code. This code is written in the VDDO init of the components controller. Okay, we are on component controller. Let's go to the VDDO init, and here we can see that of course we declared that we use this component here on the properties. Here we can see that we have declared our usage of the component in the component controller. Let's go back to the VDDO init to see the... Okay, here we see that we take the usage OVP component, we see if it is active. If it is active, we delete it, then accordingly to our FPM configuration, because when you create the FPM configuration, then that ID you use it here, and then you just create a component. But you also need to do some things in the view to make a view container UI element. Here we can see that we just created a view container UI element, and in this view container UI element we had just embed our FPM window, and because of this we will run our application. Now we can also have a look on how it's created this FPM configuration, because we have heard so much about it and we didn't see it. Okay, let's go. Okay, as we can see, this is the tool for creating a FPM configuration. Here in the left area on the navigation tab, you can add pages, and these pages contains UIBBs. UIBBs, yes. They also contain section, and then in a section you can embed an UIBB. Also, you can create a dialog faster, and you can open it also from here. But let's take the first page with ID 1, which is the login page. Let's see how it looks like. Also, this selection allowed, if it is checked, then we will have the possibility to navigate also from this thing, which is from FPM framework. Also, we can do some settings. Also, this shows you that this application has an application controller. This application controller, it's above everything. It can control everything if the architecture of the project is too complicated. Then you can make this application controller. And let's see how it looks like in CA80. This application controller can be a component controller or can be a ABAP object-oriented class, as you wish. Okay, we have created a component for our application controller, and this component needs just to implement two interfaces: EFFPM ABP controller, EFFPM OVP conf exit. And also, if you declare that your application controller is an object-oriented class, also that class needs to implement these two interfaces. Okay, and then let's see which methods we have, because we have implement these interfaces. We can see here that we have some methods, but we will see which of them we will use it and when. Let's go back again to the component configuration. Okay, we have also seen this one. We can set also the messages, the rights of the applications, and now we are in the design page, if I can say like this. Here we can see that we have two buttons. There are two globals FPM buttons, which are from the page 1, and we can see here that we have just a single component, ZNet library login. Okay, and this, because it's just a Web Dynpro component, we can copy it and then we can go to it and to see how it looks like. Our ZNet library login, because it is declared in the FPM configuration, we just need to take care to implement this EFFPM UI building block, because if we don't implement it, then we will have an error when we create the application, because we need to implement it to be inside the FPM event loop. Okay, let's see how it looks like. Also, if you want to have an assistance class, you need just here to write assistant, the name of the assistance class, press enter, and then this assistance class will implement some special interfaces, and these interfaces are for the assistance class, and then you can use the design pattern model view controller to have the Web Dynpro component just for the view, and the systems class to be the controller where you delegate the code. And for data model you make just special classes and you use them in the controller. Here in the VT-doInit method of the component controller, we can see that we make some initialization, and this method, it's from the systems class. It just selects all the user from the database and put them into an internal table. It's not good to have this here in the controller class. A good practice it is to make a data model class, but now we will do it for the future. Okay, and here we can see that we take the API, and then from the API we take the message manager, and then we pass the message manager and we encapsulate it in the systems class. Also I see the same mechanism for set FPM OVP. We take the FPM instance, which is a singleton class, okay, and then we take the OVP and then we can play with them. We don't need to call every time this method. We have the object encapsulated in the systems class or in the component controller, and then we just play with it and take it every time we need it. Okay, let's see other methods that we have them here. Okay, let's go now to the view to see how it looks like. Also a very interesting thing that I like it's that if I'm not inside the FPM event loop and I want to navigate from this login component to the book component, which is another component, I just create a view. In this view I just put a view container UI element, okay, and then I just need to go to the component to declare the usage of the component where I want to navigate, and here I declare the ZNet library books, okay, with the component usage books, and then I will just put the window of this component in our view container UI element from books view. Let's see how in the window how this is done, and we can see it here that this is the simple mechanism. And also you need to make some outbound and inbound plugs. For example, you want to navigate from this component to this component, you make a navigation link, and then this it is done, and it's not so big efforts. Let's see how the main is done. In the main we see that we have the login button, and to this login button we delegate the code to the assistance class to see if this user exists or not, and this method, okay, if the data from the user are not initial, we read from an internal table, which is the hash table, but we don't use the full key and just the partial key, because if we had used the full key we need to tell which table key, but we use just some parts of the keys. We see if the C sub or C is 0. If it is 0 we create the object, and we also put the flag on true, because this flag we analyze it here and we see if it is true. Okay, we set the page ID, and this page ID means that we will go to other FPM page, because this is also a transport class just for retaining the datas and taking them other time. Also we have created an parameter object, we have put some values on it, and we have also set the page ID and also the value. It's not a good idea to, I don't know, I don't prefer to put values and parameters in the FPM raising event, just if I don't have any other possibilities. But in this case I have created like this. And we have put here also the page 2 because we want to navigate from the page 1 to the page 2. And then we just go to see the page 2 of the component configuration. But I also want to present you some other stuffs here. We have seen that in the layout. Okay, and then we can just navigate to the other view pressing these navigation links, which fires an outbound plug, and this outbound plug, it's catched in the inbound plug of the register, and then we navigate internally from a view to another view. I also have done some test buttons, and this is the button which raises the book plug, which helps you to navigate from a component to another component, and this button open an FPM dialog fenster. I have just set the ID because the ID of the dialog fenster is 6. Okay, and then I just raised an event, an open dialog box event. Then the pop-up, the FPM pop-up appears. Big lines, just this it is with the login component. Let's go to the FPM configuration and to see what components has this page 2. Okay, we can see that we have a section. In this section we have created a toolbar, UIBB, maybe to have some buttons, and then we see that in the default section we have 3 UIBBs, and because we have checked this checkbox, this means that we will have a table, because not a table, excuse me, a tab, because if we go to help we see that we have this is the first UIBB, the second and the third one, and because of this we have, okay, and we can take of course the first UIBB, but we will see that it has just a simple text view that contains some texts, nothing special. Okay, we can go then to the, let's see if this one has also, yes, also this one has some buttons, and we can see that these buttons has an event, our own event ID. We can also put some parameters and value. Here we can also specify the Zielseite, and if we specify the Zielseite, the scope page, if we specify the scope page, this means that we can put automatically here the loans, it is page 5. We can put page 5, and then automatically when we will press the loans, then we will go automatically to the page with ID 5. Okay, let's go to the library page and let's see which UIBBs contains this one. Okay, we copy it and then we put it in C80 in Web Dynpro component. Of course, this page this component need also to implement the FPM UI building block, and this you declare in the implement tab. We have declared it, we have pressed the button to implement all the methods, and then we have the methods in the component controller. And these methods are special. After failed event, the flash, which is the first time trigger, need confirmation, process before output, process event when an action is pressed or it's raised, or every interaction that you do to the view. And also this component has an assistance class, and in big lines it is the same like the client, but let's go. We see that for the add book we have a button. This button contains some business logic to open a window, and the window name is setnet add book, and then this window contains a view pop-up add book, and this is the mechanism to open a view. We can go, of course, in the pop-up add book. The layout looks like this. When you press the add book, then you call a method of the assistance class add book. Very nice. If you clear the fields, I think you just set a empty structure to the context. If you add an author, it's the same mechanism. If you press the clear fields, the same mechanism. And this is in big slide. We go again to the main. We see what it's the delete book. How it's look like the delete book button. Okay, we see that we take the selected element, and then if we have some books in stock, then we open a create pop-up confirmation. We also subscribe to a button. This means we implement this action here in the tab, and then we do some business logic when we press this button. Okay, and also we can see all the deleted books. And these deleted books, for this one we call also a window. It's the same mechanism that we have seen before, and for it we just we can go to the view, but it's just a simple table with all the deleted clients, not something special. We can go to the layout and see here a table pop-in. For this table pop-in, we have just created a new column. We have created a top table pop-in toggle cell. I have implemented also the action on toggle, and for this we have also a table pop-in. This table pop-in contains what do you want to display when you press this little arrow, and also we need to implement the event close pop-in. If not, we will have a big error. Let's see how it looks like the open close pop-in. Okay, we see that we have in the expanded, it's attribute from the Web Dynpro framework. Okay, we analyze it if it's empty, or if a flag from the assistance class is true. We build the context changelog. This building of the context changelog means that in the component controller, in the VD2 init, we just build this context changelog. We take it from the API, we retain it in an object from the assistance class in this case, and then we just call the method enable context changelog, which just enable the context changelog, and then we build the context changelog. This calling of the method means that we analyzed which methods, what is changed from the view. We see what is changed with these methods because this method put the modification of the view in a table, and then in this table we can see what attributes it's not initial, and also it's not the pop-in. And if it is changed, then in this case we open save edit book. Here we see that we open the pop-up, we subscribe to two buttons. This means that we need to have the action edit book pop-up action, yes, where we process the context changelog. What means this process context changelog? Let's see. We loop over the GT context changelog object. We see if the node, it's the node that we want to see what modification has been done. Here we can see if the log node is bound. We take the elements, then we loop over the elements accordingly to the index, and if the name is not initial and if the attribute name is not pop-in, we take the static attributes and we set it to the context. And of course we can also call some database methods, or we can retain this modification in a table, and that table can contain just reference. Okay, and then if a pop-in is already open, we go to this condition, and this is all with this type of pop-in. The same thing is done also in the ZNet library client. This component also need to have the interface FPM UI building block, because we are inside the FPM configuration, to can integrate it in the FPM configuration, and it has the same functionalities. You can add a client, delete a client, see the deleted clients and other things. Also we can see that we have an assistance class where we delegate code. One nice thing that I would like to present you, it's the fact that if we flag this node as an interface node, then in the automatically created interface we will see this type, because if we go here we can see that this is generated code, and also for this component we have this interface generated. It's automatically generated for us, and in the moment when we declare a node as an interface node, then that interface will have some types, also constants and other things. Let's see how it looks like this generated interface. In this method we can see that we have these types automatically created because we have set these nodes to be interface nodes. And this looks like. Here we can also go inside to see the generated code. Okay, and also the cardinality can be declared 0 to n, 0 to 1. If it is 0 to n, it means that this it's like an internal table, contain more rows. Okay, and also we can go to the other component, to the loan component. This loan component have a LV table, salvd table, which is pretty much like an LV grid, and also here we have some functionalities but we can go inside to see how they look like. Check books, check fees. Let's see how looks the business logic for this one. Okay, yeah, it's specific business logic for this operations. Also function modules to calculate the dates when a client returns the books, to see if it has penalties, if it has fees and other things. Let's go to a component that has a component configuration. This is the help component. It is from the page 2, which is the help one. And here we can see that we have a custom controller created from here. Okay, we create a custom controller, and then we switch this custom controller to be a configuration controller. It has just a node properties with an attribute enable with it, which is from VD boolean. Okay, and then we just create a component configuration by this button, and let's see how it looks like a component configuration. Okay, so you create this component configuration by pressing that button, and then we will be inside the component configuration. Because we have created a custom controller, and that custom controller then we have switched it to a configuration controller. Because of this we have this node which has this attribute, and if we flag it true or false, and then this component configuration we assign it to application configuration, because this application configuration you created from this, from here. Then you can go to the application configuration and you can assign your configuration to this application configuration, and then you can test it, for example pressing this button. We have pressed this button, and we can also see that this text is enabled. But if we go here to the component configuration directly from the application configuration, and if we disable this attribute, okay, and then we go again to test our application, and then we can see that the text is disabled. Yeah, also this application configuration then needs to be assigned to the Web Dynpro application. You just assign it from the parameter tab, you choose the VD configuration ID parameter, and then you assign your application configuration here. Yes, so this was, I hope you have idea now about the project, about the FPM, OVP, Web Dynpro and other stuffs. If you like the idea, you can send me an email with which tutorials do you want to create or do you need, and if I will have time then I will do this for you. Thank you very much, have a nice day, and for any question don't forget, write me an email. Bye.